guys from a podcast called This Podcast is Making Me Thursday Want to Talk to You. And I think and I said, you don't have to tell me what it's about. I said, if it's called This Podcast is Making Me Thirsty, you definitely don't need to tell me what it's about. And I'm going on. This is what I want to do.
It's a Seinfeld podcast. It's called This Podcast is Making Me Thirsty. But I thought, this is what a podcast should be.
I just did the Seinfeld guys pod the other day. I came up with
these pretzels are making me thirsty.
Oh,
that one. Shout out. We've done it. I've done it. Have you did it?
I've not gotten a chance to do it yet. I'm looking forward to it.
It's so fun. They're so fun.
When I don't know, it must have shown up in my feed, but I see these guys tweeting about Seinfeld. I'm like, oh, what's this? And I find it's a podcast called This Podcast is Making Me Thirsty.
One of the most popular Seinfeld podcasts is This Podcast is Making Me Thirsty, co-hosted by Chris O'Hara and Tony Chula.
This Podcast is Making Me Thirsty, the number one destination for Seinfeld fans. This is 2 Up and 2 Down. Here's our producer, Chris, to start us off.
All right, everybody. Thank you again for tuning in for another episode of 2 Up and 2 Down. And today, the opposite from season 5. Chris, over to you. Give us a little background into this episode and hit us with your first up.
The opposite, the season finale of season 5, May 19th, 1994. And even 30 million people watched on that Thursday night. What weren't they watching that night? ABC, of course, had Matlock. I mean, God, it went up against Matlock all the time. It's unbelievable. CBS had The Twilight Zone, and Fox, Rockin' and Rollin', had In Living Color. So a solid lineup there, a good diverse set. But here we go. You guys, if you haven't watched the show yet, it's called 2 Up and 2 Down. We have to give 2 positives about the show and 2 negatives. So always a difficult thing to do, especially for great episodes like The Opposite. So here we go. I'm going to go essentially the monks. I'm going to go the monks opening scene when George comes in and, how frustrated he is. He obviously just came from the beach, which I forgot about, by the way. I thought he just came into monks and the whole thing about how everything he's done is wrong, and them going back and forth, and, well, that's not really the opposite. Tuna is the opposite. Yeah. George, good for the tuna. I always love. And then that scene obviously ends with George having the guts, because he did the opposite, to go up to friend of the show, Dee Dee Pfeiffer. She was incredible with us, but obviously Michelle Pfeiffer's sister. And while him telling bald men with no jobs don't go up to strange women. And then he did, and he gave the famous line, of course, my name is George, I'm unemployed, and I live with my parents. I mean, what a scene. And then it ends, obviously, hi, I'm Victoria. Even watching it now, you're just like, oh my, it's like you can't believe he did it. And then her reaction, it was just incredible. So, and I love when it kicks off at Monks. It just set the tone for the whole episode. Obviously, another friend of the show, Andy Cohen, wrote this, or he's credited, obviously along with Larry and Jerry. So incredible opening scene, getting the whole dynamic about George's kind of mindset, and then how he just flips a switch, which sets the tone for the whole episode. And then obviously ends with Dee Dee Pfeiffer there, who's amazing. So that's my first up. That opening scene of Monks, masterful.
Yeah, you said it all right there. So yeah, obviously it had to be one of the ups for this episode, that scene. So thank you, Chris. Tony, over to you. What do you have for your first up?
Yeah, I mean, that's the advantage of going first, but there's enough here. I mean, this is a packed episode, so no problem there. Yeah, the pier at friend of the show, Tim Kaiser, is on that pier, if you recall. Or no, he's not. He's on the other pier later on when they do the engagement. That's right. They bring that pier back when he's thinking on the engagement. That's right. But yeah, Andy Cowan wrote the episode, but I mean, I don't know. Larry David wrote the episode, let's be honest. But we talked to Cowan. He gave us his, he was honest with us. He gave us his take. So check that out. And as I mentioned, Dee Dee as well. Packed episode, packed. My first up is actually, well, oh man, see, I don't even know where to go. I was just going to say, and now I'm going back. hard for me not to make this my first up, because when I watched it live, for me, this was one of the best. This is up there for me with, what the hell is JJ Buhner for? I don't know why. I just love George walking in with the hat, turns it around, the New York Yankees. And you got Jerry going, Ruth, Gehrig, DiMaggio, Mantle, Costanza. And then George, I'm busting, Jerry, I'm busting. He does it twice, but that one's his big one where he's like, I'm busting, Jerry, I'm busting. Assistant to the traveling secretary. I mean, what kind of job is that even that he comes up with? The whole thing there. Moving out, he had this other apartment. He's like, so George, that happy, the happiest you ever seen him. Everything is finally working out for the guy. We went through 3 seasons of just everything not working out. He just comes in with a hat there. It's like Larry David said, like, what can I do that's going to be the best thing for this guy, or, and for him, really? It's like, I'll work for the Yankees. And so just to watch that and the exuberation, and Jerry just in disbelief, rattling off the greats, and then adds Costanza. I mean, the hat spin always gets me. I'm busting, Jerry, I'm busting. I use that all the time. Just seeing George that high, you'll never see him that high again in any episode, probably. So good. I'm going to go with that as my first up, the Costanza becoming a Yankee. Changed the course of the whole show too, by the way. So you got to give him some credit there as well.
Yeah, I like that as an up. George as at the apex of his happiness. So yeah, that's a nice nod there for an up. Chris, back to you. What do you have for your second up?
Fantastic up. I mean, to see George that happy puts a smile on your face, quite frankly. I mean, the finale makes them all to be like terrible people, but man, seeing people that happy with their favorite sports team and their friend just as excited for them, smile on your face. All right. Speaking of smile on faces, I'm gonna go with the K-Man. I loved everything about Kramer in this episode. Obviously the Regis and Kathy Lee stuff was amazing. Loved Regis. This guy's bonkos. I mean, love bonkos. He gives Kathy Lee, the full-on kiss there. And then he was just, again, talk about happy in his element. He's coming out there. He's sitting down on those high chairs and explaining about the coffee table book. And he opens it up and, oh, my coffee table's not in there. And, whatever. I forgot what he said. Oh, the next book. Kramer was just smooth as can be. And then obviously spitting the coffee out was insanity. It was great. And then obviously him going back with Lippman. I always loved that line. Lippman's like, we're going to cancel the book tour, essentially. And, oh, you're not canceling Sonia Live, are you? I got a thing for her. Incredible. Kramer doesn't care about the book. He just got a thing for Sonia Live. So, and then obviously he comes back. He sees the cigar serenity and just a lot of nice little tiebacks. Kramer was great. He's almost, I don't want to say overlooked in this episode, but he's an underrated part of this episode. So, but the K-Man brought it. I mean, you remember the Boncos, remember him spitting the thing up. I always think about the coffee table turning into a coffee table. I love Kramer's description of that. So the K-Man, my second up.
Absolutely. I think that deserves an up. Yeah, that whole Regis and Kathy Lee scene was great. So, Tony, back to you. What do you got for your second up?
Second up, I'm gonna go. I don't know if this is. I'm gonna say the second up is friend of the show Marty Rackman, Jake Jarmel, but it's kind of a lane too. I'm just gonna go with the scene, I guess, because I don't want to take full a lane on this one, but I will take the Juji Fruit scene. We love Jake Jarmel, and I just thought he brought it again. He gave us a great tidbit about this scene. Apparently the line was supposed to be goobers. They didn't have any goobers. Julia took the Juji fruit because it was funnier chewing the Juji fruit. So she made the whole thing with her mouth there, the chewing and all that kind of stuff. Just brought it to a whole new level. And then when he's just like, I'd like you to leave, please, and puts his hands behind his, so good. Kind of like his whole I'm out of here at the exclamation point thing. I guarantee you I wouldn't stop for Juji fruit. I just love when Rackman gets mad at Elaine. He just brings her right down because he's one of the few guys, she wanted Jake Jarmel twice, and both times she's like, I'm done with you. You screwed me twice here. You got me with the exclamation points. Now the Juji fruits. It's like, get out of here, and then he gets her back with the glasses, the whole thing there, or she gets him back, I suppose. But yeah, I thought Elaine brought it, the whole physicality of chewing on the juji fruits and being all, French steward lets her know and she doesn't know what to do there. And she comes in, Hiram Caston, another great friend of the show, sitting on the desk, the whole thing there. He gave us a good tidbit. He's supposed to have a line where they argued about, would you go back for juji fruits? What candy would you go back for? Would it be Reese's? Would it be, there was a whole chunk there that got cut. He's mad about David. He told us about that getting cut. But anyway, a couple other tidbits you'll learn watching our interviews. But I just liked Elaine bringing it with Jake Jarmel. I thought she was great with the hair down. It's not bad. It's before the curls. I like it. I like this hair on Elaine too. It's good stuff. In the hospital, Jarmel is just like, get out of here, man. You stopped for juicy fruits. Get out of here. So I'm gonna give that as my second up.
Yeah, Jake Jarmel is great. I mean, other than Putty, the next best boyfriend interaction that she has is, I think, with Jake. So yeah, that's a good call there. So those are the ups. Chris, we're going back to you for your first down. What do you have?
And listen, Tony might like Jarmel better than anyone. He's right up there with Columbus, it sounds like. And what's interesting, at the hospital, Jarmel didn't even have like a Band-Aid on. He was just like, no big deal, clean cut. Agreed. Incredible stuff. And then, Elaine also ate popcorn in the cab right over the whole thing. All right. Downs are tough. I'm not going to lie. I'm glad I'm going first, but I don't even know if I have enough here. And they're small downs. But, I love Rachel, but they kind of just plopped her in with the Even Stevens. And I love the Even Stevens stuff, but they just kind of plopped her in. Like, I didn't even know they were still dating. It was one of those, like, there was so much in this episode. I wonder if something got cut beforehand. Like, maybe he didn't even mention her at all. Like, hey, I'm still with Rachel, or, there could have been some, I'll blame Andy Cohen for that. There could have been some discussion of Rachel in the beginning for that last scene to make sense. You know what I'm saying here? And I love Rachel, and I loved him walking out, like, the wheels on the bus or would come around the mountain. I forgot what he was singing, but it's funny, whatever he was singing. So they kind of just plopped her in. So it felt a little like it didn't feel organic. It felt like they just kind of forced her in to kick her out, if that makes any sense. It was a quick scene, but that one always puzzled me a little bit because I feel like they could have explained that they were dating maybe earlier in the episode. Just give me a little sprinkle. So that's my first down.
Yeah, I definitely agree with your point there, because the episode before that was the Hampsons, and it just seemed like that would have been a breakup. George, with all that, walking in on George, or George trying to walk in on her and all that. So yeah, you're right. It seemed kind of forced that they just brought her back just to get rid of her. So good point for a down. Tony, over to you. What is your first down?
Yeah, I wrote down her as a down, actually. He took that one. I agree. It just kind of threw her in there. I also agree. We already done with our ups, but I thought the Jerry Even Steven stuff was good. Liked it a lot. I mean, that's who Jerry is in a nutshell. So it's glad they kind of used that. My first down, actually, again, it's hard to find downs, but I thought the Lippman having the cold, I don't know, man. I know that's what they kind of use to tie it kind of all together to get her fired. But I didn't love it. I just thought they were like, we have to bring Elaine down. We have to get her fired. And maybe that was what they that's what they came up with, obviously, but I just didn't buy it. This whole thing, maybe Richard Fancy really had a cold. They just kind of wrote it in. Who knows? That's happened before. But, Kramer goes there and he's got the cold and he couldn't blow his nose. And that's how the whole deal gets thrown out. And then that's how she gets fired. I didn't love it. I don't know what would have done in place of it, but in an otherwise, very, very, very good episode. To me, it was kind of a weak kind of throwaway. Again, maybe to Chris's point, they had other stuff that they kind of played off of earlier to make it tighter. But by cut it, maybe they cut stuff out. I don't know. But all of a sudden he just had this cold and you didn't have a handkerchief and they got offended and she's fired. It just, I don't know. They kind of tied it up at the end there. Something might've been missing that we missed out on. I don't know what. Again, man, maybe it was Andy Cowan. I don't think he gave us that though. I'm pretty sure it's probably all LD, but I don't know. I'm finding downs. That's what I'm going to go with. The whole Lippman kind of being sick angle for losing the job for Elaine. It's my first down.
No, I definitely see that as a down too, and I think like yeah, they could easily have resolved the issue between the Japanese investors and Littman by explaining, "Hey, I have a cold. That's why I could, you know." So yeah, I think that's a good down. Chris, back to you. What do you have for your second down here?
Well, you two are two bozo Americans. You don't understand Japanese culture. It's
Well, to
business.
Smith's point, then why even have the meeting if the guy's sick? Don't come to work if you're that sick. I mean, come on, reschedule it.
You don't. It's an insult to the Japanese. You don't do that.
Bring some
Here's the thing.
oranges.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, and you mentioned actually when I rewatched this, the opening stand up was about a handkerchief, if you recall.
Yes, which wasn't that great of a stand, to be honest with you,
No,
but it
it
was solid. Yeah, good
No,
bit.
but it again, it's
Ties
set
it
into
together.
into what's happening, and I agree, Hank. Like it's disgusting. We take tissues.
My dad used to have one all the time, just covered
Yeah.
and just like ripping it out, blowing his nose at it. I'm
Like,
like, what are we
but then you
doing?
use a tissue and you throw that in the garbage. Like, why would you
Right,
not throw
right.
that in the garbage? Oh yeah, it's an old school thing.
Old school thing, yeah.
Which again, Littman's old school. He gets it. He's a hard worker. He's not going to reschedule. These guys are flying in from Japan, saving the company. So it made it funny that Elaine left it there and he was in a tough spot.
Okay, so what's your down? What's your second down? Guys, poo me all night.
You know, I like Lippman, you know.
Oh God, I knock a little Lippman. The guy goes nuts.
So there we go. And this is a week down I'm giving you. But who are these guys Jerry's playing cards with? We've never seen them before. Like
I think a lot of them are actually real stand-ups that he's buddies with, but that was besides the point, yeah.
But like he's friends with Kramer and George. They're not invited? Who are these random guys? And again, I didn't see any beers. Like you're playing cards, someone's smoking. I mean, these guys are sitting there again, potato chips and Sprite, and even Steven. I guess it's funny. I love the even Steven stuff, but again, forcing in these guys that we've never seen before, just seemed a little off. So for me, the poker guys, because this just never happens. It's un Jerry like. I don't think he's ever played cards in the 9-year run. Am I right? He's had one party essentially, the boxing match, again with the Coke and the Sprite. Other than that, Lane had the party there. Jerry doesn't have people over, as he said to Ramon, I got 3 friends. That's enough. Yet who are these guys? So
he did host the intervention in the Pez episode.
Yeah, reluctantly. I was thinking of that too.
I wouldn't call that a party. Wouldn't call that a party.
Hey, but it's a gathering. All right, but yeah, all right. The poker guys is your down, and like you said, this is a very good episode, and you're fishing for down, so that's what we're going with. So, Tony, back to you. What do you got for your last?
He pushed back on my lip. I'm just gonna say, I mean, Jerry's a stand-up comic. He's out in he's got buddies on the side. It ain't just George and Kramer. He's probably got some buddies. He meets in the nightclubs and stuff like that. Most of these comics got comic buddies. He plays a game of cards. Let him relax. My next down actually is going to be contradicting to something that Chris gave for it up. I was never a Regis guy, Regis the Catholic. I know you love Regis the Catholic. Campy love Regis the Catholic. Guys always talk about Regis the Catholic. I never watched it. I got into Regis a little bit later on the millionaire stuff. Okay, liked them on Letterman here and there. You stained my casuals, my Kathy Lee casuals. Kramer was good. I give you Kramer at that whole thing. But if I'm looking for downs, I don't know, man. He walks out, he kisses her. Okay, maybe. I just, Bonkos. If you're a Regis guy, maybe you liked it. I didn't love it, to be honest with you. I mean, I didn't love it in the fact that I got to find downs. Of course, it wasn't bad. It was funny and everything like that. But he spits out water, by the way. You could see the water. Was it supposed to be hot coffee, I guess? Make that a little better, I think, in the prop department. But it just always got like, what's he spitting out? And then he says the coffee to Lippman later on, but then show some coffee coming out of his mouth, Anywho, very small details we're talking about here. I didn't like the Catholic casuals. If you're gonna, they shot all that in New York, apparently, and showed it on the screen to the studio audience. We were told by people that are, obviously we talked to a lot of people from this episode. But yeah, I mean, we're looking for downs. To your point, they didn't give Kramer a lot, and that's what they gave him. And of course, he's going to do something great with it. But I don't know. He's going on Regis and Kathy. It seems to me you don't like these things a lot of times. That was for a clip. That was probably for advertising. That was for tie-ins. That was for NBC. That was network stuff. That's Regis and Jerry, hobnobbing. Kramer, I don't know. Give me something else besides Regis and Kathy Lee on that bookstore.
Regis Kathy Lee was on Channel 7 in New York, ABC affiliate. So there was no connection there. So
Fair point there, Mikey. I said I never watched it. What the hell do I know? I don't know. We'll edit that out. Nice and easy. I cut that part out. No, I mean, listen, whatever channel he's on, he's doing Jerry a favor, I'm sure. I don't know. Money was involved somewhere along the line. It always is. I don't know. I just got to find it down. That's my down, the Regis bit.
I don't know. Maybe they were part of the same production company. Who knows? But anyway. That's your down, Tony. Regis and Kathy Lee. All right.
Or Kathy Lee, but we'll go with it.
All right. But Kramer, solid in that. Listen, I had no issues with that. So, but hey, that's your down. Sticking to it. All right, guys. So Chris, back to you. Let's wrap this up. What do you got for your final grade here? The Opposite, season 5.
Yeah, I don't love Kathy Lee, Frank Gifford, the whole thing, but that was just a big morning show where people go to promote books. So it made sense. So listen, The Opposite. You've heard me talk about this. If the series ended here, you got a happy guy. I mean, this is the way to go out. 4 on all 4 cylinders, right? Jerry doing his even Steven stuff. All right, $20, you could have thrown a pencil out the window. Incredible line. Kramer, we talked about. Sonia Live gave the up. Elaine, Tony touched on with Jarmel at the hospital. Incredible. And I love when she went after George, like about, was this the opposite, or is this your instinct? Like, she was like forceful yet still cutesy, Elaine, but like, you could tell all this stuff was building on her, and that was a funny line. Obviously, the pendant shutdown, the whole thing. George, I mean, we touched on the opening scene. Tony touched on the Yankee stuff. I mean, what about him driving in the car, right? Why shave every day? The movie theater, not going up, right? This harkens back to the phone message, doesn't go up for coffee, but now he does it deliberately. Who are you, George Costanza? I mean, just the Yankee interview, the attack on Steinbrenner, and then hire this man. I mean, brilliant. To the Costanzas, right? We forgot about the Costanzas, right? Back at their house, moving out, don't get in trouble with the Yankees. I mean, just enough Frank and Estelle, right? We didn't even think about them in this episode, but like, they elevated it. And then him saying, I love you. And then obviously Jerry and George saying opposite, Jerry and Kramer saying opposite. And another one, you mentioned Hiram. How about the return of Siobhan Fallon? The buzzer. I mean, just remarkable. You had Hiram, you had Siobhan, you had the parents, you had Regis Kathy Lee, Dee Dee Pfeiffer, you had Richard Fancy. What was incredible is there was so much, yet it still felt so tight, so precise, all 4 of our cylinders. Like, who are we knocking? I'm knocking the poker players, You're knocking Kathy Lee, who had a little scene, No, man, this is where it should have ended. They went out on top. You could feel Larry Davis, Sharonis, Larry Charles, all in this episode. And I know Cohen got the credit, but you could just feel it. Opposite's an A+. It's right there with the best of them. It's one of the best seasons of all time, and it capped off in a perfect bow. obviously Elaine saying I become George, and and even Kramer got ticked off at the end. The coffee book canceled, so just again, I don't like everything fitting in a nice bow, and maybe it didn't, but just man, it was great. Donnie Baseball, and Tony loves that one. He's the first baseman. Loved it. I can go on and on. It's an A+. End of story.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna add on to that because that was a great summary there from you, and obviously it deserves an A+. So Tony, right to you. What do you got here?
Yeah, not much to add on. He gave the summary. I mean, everything. It's got everything. So yeah, like I said, he's. I mean, this is some of the things I was going to touch on. The Frank and Estelle stuff was unbelievable, as he mentioned. The stuff with Elaine, like you said, when he squeezes his face stick with the opposite, the slap in the head, always amazing. The pencil line was great. I mean, I was going to give it as my up. George coming in and saying greetings and salutations. What a beautiful day for a ball game. Let's play two. Are you kidding me? Donnie Baseball, hell of a guy. George in that suit. That might be my favorite George of all time. He kind of brings that back when he gets the toupee. He has the blazer, and he kind of does a similar thing. But this was before that, and this was also better than that. This was George at his best. I talked about Bustin' Jerry Bustin', but now he's really feeling his oats. He's had a conversation with Don Mattingly. Are you kidding me? This is like you're talking to a guy. I got a conversation with Don Mattingly. Forget about it. So he comes in all ready to go there. I didn't love the movie thing though. I was going to give that as a down. It's one small thing I didn't love, but tough to find downs. But yeah, unbelievable episode. He kind of said it all there. Interesting though. I'm surprised you didn't bring this up. This is up your alley. No Morgan, no Wilhelm. It's the guy from Breakfast Club. Getting him the job with the Yankees. They never bring that guy back. They figured it out. They need Mr. Morgan at Yankee Stadium working for George working for him.
That's Victoria's uncle though. That's why.
That's the uncle. Yeah, but we never see him again. That's the interesting kind of tie in there. I mean, you think he got the job, you'd check in on George every once in a while. How's it going? We never really see what happens with Didi either, to be in that realm, I guess. Because maybe, hey, for all we know, Harry likes to say this should have ended here. Maybe Larry David's been known to wanting to quit all the time. Kirby wanted to quit every season. Maybe he thought he was packing it up, and then he ended up coming back. In fact, Mandel told us I think he was going to leave after season 6, but came back for 7. I just rewatched Mandel again, and he did mention that. So, maybe he thought about leaving after 5 also, and this was going to be his swan song. Anywho, all that's to say, there's no way to slice this. I can't really pick apart anything here. Even my down wasn't really a down. It's an A+. I think I might have ranked it like 5th at one point. I don't know if it's that high. If I go back, I don't know if I put it at number 5, but it's an all-timer, and it's an A+. Any way you slice it. So I totally agree there. We're on the same page on that one. All-time classic.
Yeah, so if you're a Seinfeld fan, it's an A+. Or anybody new to Seinfeld who's watching this for the first time, this is the episode you check out and be like, that's how it's done. So yeah, thank you guys for your ups and your downs, your thoughts and grades, and we appreciate it. So thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you on our next episode.